What's up, Geminites? Your boy Milton the Manimal.
Gem
We're here for Act 3, Part 2 of our Valiant Universe read-through.
This is the last video we're going to do for the read-through. We're going to do one more wrap-up video with final thoughts, but stay tuned for the final review.
Yep.
Ooh, man. So, welcome back.
Yeah.
Just got back from vacation. Was holding it down solo. But you knocked these out while you were on vacation, right?
No, right before. I finished them before I took off. Yeah.
So the final act, you got Bloodshot Reborn, Volume 2. You got Wrath of the Eternal Warrior, 4001 AD.
You got Ninjak, Volume 2, and Divinity, which is kind of a collection a little bit. And so we also brought up, there's a little mini-series that just collects the Divinity Book 1, I think.
Yeah, so Divinity ended up being a trilogy.
Divinity 1 through 4.
So they released a deluxe edition for the first volume of Divinity, or whatever you want to call it. And then I guess they said, screw it, we're just going to release the trilogy one. So it double dips.
Which is good. I mean, we'll talk about it more when we get into Divinity, too. But just reading the 1 through 4 issues would have kind of been dumb.
No, and it double dips it anyway.
Yeah.
So what do you want to talk? You want to talk about Divinity first?
Let's talk with Eternal Warrior.
Okay, so Eternal Warrior, one of my favorite books out of the whole series.
One of my favorite characters and favorite books.
For sure. All right, in the beginning, Act 1, I don't know that he was my favorite, but I guess we didn't know enough about him at the time.
Right, he kind of just seemed to be the guy who popped up everywhere. He was super powerful. He couldn't really die.
Super noble warrior kind of guy.
Yeah, it was like, but we never really got any info. It was kind of a slow burn on Eternal Warrior, like who he was, what was going on, the Geomancer stuff. And this one kind of really went in behind the scenes, if you will.
Well, at first, don't we get introduced to him as Eric, Exo Manowar's, like, brother or something?
Yeah, I think either there or we also first saw him in Archer and Armstrong.
Yeah, because he is Armstrong's brother.
The Anapati brothers.
And Ivar's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. So we don't hear about Geomancers, I think, until somewhere around the middle of this.
Yeah, and then it's almost like they decided to, I don't know how his story was in the pre-Valiant universe, but they added the Geomancer stuff in.
And then at the very last, we get to really know about him in the final act, I guess you could say it. I loved it. It shows you where he goes when he dies, and that he can choose to stay in this kind of paradise or go back into the world and right some wrongs. Which
was kind of cool too, because they call him the Eternal Warrior, but I think like through a lot of the stories initially, I always thought he was immortal. And then this kind of showed, and we saw at the end of what was the miniseries? The Valiant miniseries, he died. And that's kind of where this picks up.
Right.
So he dies, but he comes back.
It's like he could be immortal if he wants to.
Yeah.
He could choose. He knows the tricks to get back into the real world. And all that stuff is really exciting when he fights that big demon guy.
Right.
Do you remember his name?
Yeah.
You're usually pretty good at that.
No, it was wild.
But I thought the art was great. I thought the pacing was really good. It was really interesting. I like those kind of mythos in books. You know what I'm saying?
They kind of set up a foil to him, like a character who's also immortal, who's like the reverse of him. So where he just keeps getting resurrected, there's another character who gets resurrected but in different bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Who is kind of like his villain. So he's trying to figure out, how do you keep coming back in the same body?
Yeah, he keeps coming back as himself. This other guy keeps coming back, always in a different body, but he's got everything set up. He knows the deal.
He has like a servant, like a
lineage.
Dynasty of servant. You know what it reminded me of too? Did you ever watch Quantum Leap?
No.
Oh man, so it's like Quantum Leap where the character keeps coming back. Once he's a female, once he's like a black guy, and like all this stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, and then he's got like his bank account set up. He's good to go.
Right.
So one of the better reads for sure. I actually enjoyed every book of this act.
I did too. I did as well.
So I guess we'll keep moving, right? So that's Eternal Warrior. Then let's go. I guess Bloodshot Reborn wraps up the Bloodshot Reborn. I really liked it. Who wrote this? This was Jeff Lemire.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to remember because I read this a long time ago, but
this had to do with Bloodshot Island.
And with the Geomancer, is it Kay?
Yeah.
They make her into this ultimate weapon, and it's another Valiant trope of she's so powerful nobody can ever destroy her. Actually, you have Bloodshot Island with the different Bloodshots. It's like Groundhog Day for them, but with murder.
Right.
Right? They wake up every day and Kay kills them, not knowing, she's like being controlled.
So I liked this book, but I think my biggest complaint with Bloodshot and with this book is it's the same story over and over.
So you didn't like Bloodhound?
I actually, Bloodhound might have been the one thing I liked.
I love Bloodhound, man.
But it's the same stuff. It's always Project Rising Star. Or
Remember
whatever.
when I texted you this picture?
Yeah. It was dope.
So when the Bloodshot virus gets released, like some real Illuminati type vibe.
Yeah.
And a bunch of heroes get bloodshotted.
Yeah, basically,
Livewire
the corporation is trying to kill all these people so they can become back in power.
So they can save them.
Yeah, and then people will bring them back. So, I don't know, man. Bloodshot it's the same story. Every time I read Bloodshot, it's the same story. I enjoy it as I read it, but there's nothing new in it at all.
Yeah, I guess it's hard for them to come up with different storylines. It always revolves around the same crap, right?
Always.
But I was entertained. I
was entertained, yeah. Were you entertained?
Are you not entertained? What is over here?
Ninjak.
So, Ninjak, we got to jump in before this, right?
Yeah, I think that one's last.
So, Ninjak, also a favorite of mine. And I think I like this better than Volume 1. Because Volume 1, I didn't really like the, what's his face, Shadow Man tie-ins.
Oh, towards the end? But that was like at the end.
And this just has a lot with his origin, and doesn't it have his first like love on that when they went on those first earlier missions of his?
And she comes back and she's bad, and also has the seven like enemies that he fights in the first volume. They come back and they kind of have to team up. But this has a lot to do with some Shadow Man stuff as well. Like what's his name? Dark comes in.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of they go into that Shadowverse. God damn, I can't remember the name of it.
The Dead Zone.
The Dead Zone.
So is her name Rourke? Or I'm thinking about the thing from Sin City.
Yeah, you think it's Sin City.
What's her name again with the red hair? We find out who she really is, and I guess we shouldn't really give spoilers, but it's somebody from Ninjak's past.
Right. We knew in the last volume.
Okay, so it's the girl we were just talking about, right?
Yeah.
What's her name again?
Roku,
that's it. Oh, I love Roku.
Yeah, she's dope.
Love me some Roku.
It was a good volume, man. Ninjak's great. He's one of my favorite characters, probably.
Does it make you want to read the 90s run?
Not
I kind of
really.
want to check out. I'm like a little Valianted out.
Yeah, I'm a little Valiant.
But I do want to read that OG Ninjak.
Do people say it's really good?
I don't really hear much about it.
Oh, you just kind of want to read it because you like the character.
Yeah, exactly, and see where he came from.
Yeah.
Now, I think, man, I really like Ninjak, man. His whole origin with kind of like a very Batman-esque origin, except his butler is abusive.
Who's his stepdad or his real dad, biological dad?
Exactly.
His parents are drunks.
Yeah, they're pieces of shit.
Yeah.
And the mother's a real piece of shit. She basically had him with somebody else just for the mission type of shit, right?
Right. So,
hell of a worker, that one.
So then we got into Divinity. So I liked Divinity.
Love Divinity.
But I felt like it was a little jarring in terms of...
Okay, I like the first two Divinity books. When it shows like these astronauts going to outer space, they're trying to find the edge of the universe.
Yeah, that was cool. It's just... kind of like what you're talking about. Once again, super powerful people who are more powerful than anyone else that have been powerful in the Valiant universe show up.
Who shows up?
Divinity and...
oh, yeah, so those astronauts get changed. We don't really ever know what it is that changed them, though, right?
No, it's just
something in
force
space.
Out the end of the universe.
And then it turns into Red Sun.
Yeah, some kind of like Red Sun.
So Divinity, I forget who it is. If it's the main guy or there's three.
Divinity's the main guy. This guy right here.
And who's the one that bends reality?
The female.
The female bends reality, almost like DC's Red Sun. Like, what if Superman crashed in Russia instead of Kansas? And they make everything where, Putin. It's the Putin verse.
Yeah, Putin verse.
I thought that was a little edgy, man.
It was cool. It was interesting. It was fun. It was also good to see like different characters in different roles. You had like Bad Exo Man-O-War.
Bad Bloodshot.
It was kind of like a red. It also felt like very Age of Apocalypse, X-Men-ish.
Yeah.
You know? So
it was Red Sun like to the T, really. But it was cool. I didn't really like the little one shots of the
new characters.
At the end, there was like one shots. I was like, the main story was enough for me,
Yeah. I just honestly now I'm like, okay, so now you have these 3 super powerful people in the universe that are just like unstoppable.
But the origin was tight. Yeah, so Divinity is like, it used to be Exo Man-O-War that was on the reserve team.
Right.
Like, you called him in when all else failed. But now it's like, yo, Divinity's the big gun.
Yeah, thank God Divinity's not a bad guy.
So what happened? So at the end, I mean, I know it was, we think that Divinity survives by himself and leaves the female and the other guy behind.
Are we getting spoilery?
Let's try to walk the line, right? So then she ends up coming back, but dude catches a ride with her, but kind of like his soul gets ripped out of his body.
Well, she sacrifices the third guy to get back.
but
powers her ship.
But he kind of
His
merges
spirit,
with her. Yeah.
And then divinity allows him to go free at the end.
Right.
Kind of.
Oh, he's like, yo, he's like, you're all powerful. You can traverse the universe. Why are you hanging out on Earth?
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, you're fucking right. I'm out.
So,
and that was it. Well, I guess,
then,
was that a spoiler?
Kind of, yeah. But.
So the girl was only bad because she was possessed by him. But when he leaves at the end, the girl sticks around. No?
Well, in Divinity 2, she was kind of the bad guy. Because she was pissed that Divinity left her. Yeah. She came back for vengeance. And then Divinity convinced her, like, hey, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah.
He's like, I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah, she was born in Russia to be a Russian, soldier or whatever. And he kind of, then they got, like, happily ever after together, lived together.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
In his little Earth cell or whatever?
In, like, I think later it was, like, in a hut, like, in the woods or something. I don't know.
But I liked it.
It was cool.
So you definitely don't need to buy this. Although, now that I think about it, this is probably the better story out of all of them in there. Like the first.
I like Divinity 2 because I like when Mishka comes back.
But to me, this was like a space exploration, found some divine presence kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was dope how they had to train their whole lives. They couldn't have friends or family or relationships.
Right.
The dude had a secret family and
they
shit.
They basically picked like nobodies that had no connection. Yeah.
So the last one, you good on that?
Yeah. Was
4001 AD, which is supposed to be the last in the chronological timeline. You're in the future, and it basically just picks up where Rye leaves off.
Mm-hmm. I love Rye. I love the 4001 AD storyline. I love the Clayton Crane artwork.
Yeah, he does the interiors, which I always thought of him as more of a cover guy, but I guess because he does a lot of variants now.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think it's really good. It's a really good what's the word I'm looking for, man? Like the world building they do. This New Japan and these sectors. Like this could be a movie.
Well, and then it sets it up without getting any spoilers, but the way it all ends with New Japan, I guess this is kind of spoiler.
No spoilers. The ending is
New Japan coming down to Earth. And they have different sections of them in different ways. It kind of leads into a lot. Like, you could do a lot with that.
Yeah, exactly what I'm thinking. There could be a lot done with this as a franchise, as a movie series. Don't kill it with a TV show because that's just lame.
And you got you have Eternal Warrior in here, which always makes the stories more dope.
So. Yeah, so this was really cool, man. It also has, like, those kind of finale issues, like Bloodshot, 4001 AD, Man of War, Shadow Man. I think a lot of those I read in other books, though.
I read them all in Book of Death. A lot of like the Book of Death stuff shows up in there.
I skipped it to catch them all, and here's what happened. So, Rye is super cool. I don't know how much we want to talk about. We kind of talked about it last time, I would think. So anyway, I guess that's it. So all of these books, we didn't really talk about what they cover or anything. I mean, I don't know, Amazon, that shit. They're like they're $40 each.
It all depends.
40, 50.
I think the typical for the whole series was about 12 or 13 issues on average in each book.
Right.
Except for the thinner little mini-series.
Cool, man. So, man, I feel really accomplished. How do you feel knocking all these books out?
I never had read Valiant. I didn't know anything about Bloodshot, Ninjak, any of these characters. So it's cool. It's cool to kind of go out there. But like you said, I'm a little Valianted out.
For me, when I first started building my collection, I was buying a lot, not reading that much. Mm-hmm. So this was kind of one of those things where it's like, damn, I bought every single one of these books. Like, when am I going to read these?
It was just kind of daunting because you kept stacking them up.
Yeah, but, thanks to the channel and you wanting to read a lot of stuff with me, it's like I'm knocking stuff out. I'm feeling accomplished. We knocked out all that Valiant. There's a lot of stuff back here that's been read now.
Yeah.
So it feels really fulfilling. We want to thank y'all for taking this journey with us. I know we lost a lot of you guys on the way because you don't want to get spoiled or whatever, but it'll be here for the archives. I think we're going to do one more video just to kind of wrap up the whole universe, final thoughts on everything, similar to like the intro video that we did.
Yeah.
So, stick around for that if you're on this Valiant train with us. Make sure to drop us a comment. A lot of you guys were saying that, wait till you get to these books. These are the best ones.
Yeah.
I really think they were.
I think that was true.
Definitely was true. Drop us a comment. What do you think? What's happening now in the Valiant universe? I see solicits for Armor Hunters 2, and I don't know, is there any good things going on now that we should know about?
I feel like it's going to pick up, too, with all this Bloodshot movie
hype. Yeah. Are there any deluxe editions that are coming out? I don't know of any that are solicited, so, let me know. I'm going to still continue to pick them up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more recent reads, read-throughs, and other daily content that we provide every day.
Yep.
Daily content every day. All right, thanks. Stay minty. Peace.